Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundCloud Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Missing, available on Amazon, coming soon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson. Double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also brought to you by Illumniptical, think tank of the future. The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, available on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and brought to you by High 10 Music. Check out the latest at high10music.com. We're here with a terrific gentleman who's an author, founder, and president of Vanguard Marketing Investments Incorporated, a renowned leader and educator in real estate and personal growth industries, and established a career of singular achievement, and also authored a number of books, 50 years in the business world, and holds bachelor's and master's degrees in education, has a new book out, Making a Real Impact, designed to get people beyond doubting themselves, questioning why the momentum stalled, or suffering from imposter syndrome. The book is called Real Impact, Daily Inspiration, and for those who need it right now, you need to listen to this. Live, ladies and gentlemen, plus to use in beautiful downtown Arlington, Texas, the amazing author, founder, president of Vanguard Marketing Investments Incorporated. He's a renowned leader and educator in real estate and personal growth industries. Got the new book, Real Impact, Daily Inspiration. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-time Dennis J. Henson. Dennis, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me, Mike.
Well, it's great to have you on board, deep in heart, Texas, Dennis. You're author, founder, and president of Vanguard Marketing Investments. You're a renowned leader and educator in real estate and personal growth industries. You established a career of singular achievement and authored a number of books. You've been in business for about 50 years in the business world, holding a bachelor's and master's degree in education. A new book is designed to get people beyond doubting themselves, question why the momentum stalled, or suffering from imposter syndrome. This is going into 2025 for those who are looking to change. It's called Real Impact, Daily Inspiration. And before getting all that, Dennis, tell us how you first got started.
Well, I got started as an author because when I moved to Texas, I started investing in real estate. I had been investing for a number of years, and I was very successful. But in Arlington, there were no real estate investment clubs. I wanted to meet other investors. I wanted to hear the speakers and so forth. So I started the club myself.
Okay.
And after I did that, I also started doing some classes, mostly so I would learn. You know, if you want to learn something, you teach it to someone else. So one day, one of the members came up and said, Dennis, I'm about to retire in 3 weeks, and I want you to take me on and teach me what you do. And I said, no, that's not what I do. I'm busy. I do my meetings and I invest in real estate, and I just don't have time to teach. And he said, well, let me take you out to lunch and we'll talk about it. And I thought, okay. I told my wife, Norma, I said, Norma, I'm going to go tell Mike I'm not going to do this. And she said, okay. So we went out to eat, and after we ate, he reached in his pocket, pulled out his checkbook and handed it to me, and he said, here, fill this out. So
oh, that's something nice to do these days. It's rare, but it's nice.
That's right. So I thought, well, this will end this, because I'm going to put a number here that I know he wouldn't pay or anybody else. So I handed it back to him. He tore the check out, and without looking at it, he signed it and handed it to me. And that's when I started teaching. So I thought, well, if I'm going to teach and I'm going to charge all this money, I better have a pretty good lesson to teach. So I really put together everything that I knew, and I started having the students come through, and they became successful. I mean, they were so successful. I would be invited to speak at podcasts and come in and make speeches. I made speeches in several countries. But just because of my students, they were just blowing it away. So one day on a podcast, the host said, Dennis, tell us why your students are so successful. What's something that makes them so successful? And I said, well, I have them change their habits. If they form success habits, they'll become successful. And he said, okay, well, what's the number one success habit they need to form? I thought for a second, and I said, well, I have them form the habit of reading something positive every day that will move them toward their goal. So after the podcast was over, I thought, that's really true. Wouldn't it be great if there were a book or an app or a tool of some kind to help people form that habit? That's how I got started. I thought, wow, I've been collecting poems and quotes. I met Jim Rohn back in the 70s. And he said, write down everything. He said, you're going to, someday you're going to need this stuff. So you write it down, keep a journal. And so I started keeping the journal in the mid 70s. And so for 50 years, I had every poem, every quote, every motivational story that inspired me. And I thought, well, I'll just put these in a book, and in 3 months, it'll be done. Now, this was in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And earlier this year, it got published. It took 5 years because there were so many stories and so many poems and so many quotes that I had to narrow them, continually narrow them down. And then I had to take the stories and verify them and augment them and make them better. But what I ended up with is a book that's just the right size, and it's extremely powerful. And I sent it to a friend, and he called me yesterday, and he said, Dennis, this is the nicest book I've ever seen. And
Nice.
I told my wife about it, and I said, this guy owns a book publishing company. That's what he does. He prints books.
Okay.
And he told me my book was the nicest he'd ever seen, but I didn't spare any expense. It's really, really a nice book. But what's even better is what's inside it, because those poems and quotes and stories that I've been collecting all those years are extremely powerful. I mean, they'll change your life. They really will. And if it's used as intended, you'll form a new habit that will lead you to unimaginable heights.
It sounds like it too. And I was just thinking about with that book and everything like that, with all the poems, the stories, and verses, quotes, and everything collected. What would you say from the top of your head or right this moment would be your all-time favorite poem?
Oh, I like the poem Don't Quit. I was listening to that earlier today. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when your road you're trudging seems all uphill, when funds are low and debts are high, when you want to smile and you have to cry, when care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. I think that's powerful. I mean, that's really powerful. And people don't realize that problems are a normal part of life. Everybody has them. And if you don't have them, nature does not permit vacuums. So if you don't have a problem, that's a vacuum. And the longer you go without one, the bigger the problem is going to hit you when you get it. So you need to have things like this that you can go and help pull you out so that you don't stay down, because life's not meant to be lived in sadness and worry and sorrow, and it's up to you how you feel. I mean, you don't have to be worried about things. I mean, you worry about them because you decide to worry about them. My wife's a worrier, and I tell her all the time, I say, look, honey, worrying doesn't help. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. If it's bad and it happens, the worrying didn't help. And if it doesn't happen, you didn't waste your time worrying. So that's the kind of thing that this book is built around. It has an underlying training that it's giving you. It's desire, faith, will, and action. All of the people in the book had terrible problems. They were at the end of their road. It didn't look like a couple of them were about to commit suicide, and they came back from it and became super successes. People, everybody will recognize, and no matter where they are.
And I think that's really important as well, too. And, how does Dennis make a real impact with daily inspirations? We'll find out just one minute with Dennis J. Henson. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has gotten great reviews. And Evil Evidence enjoys by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for It Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia. And coming out soon to Amazon, Missing 2 by Mia Molson-Zia. Double the suspense, double the fun. Check it out on Amazon. Also, Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Illumnifical, think tank of the future, bring scientists and engineers together from all over the world, creating a method to construct a renewable generator. This unique product operates on a closed-loop system, generating more energy internally than needs to function. The electricity can use to run everything from homes, power grids, phones, laptops. The power source is renewable, highly scalable, and most importantly, self-regenerate. Visit Facebook.com/Illumnifical. That's ELLUMENIPTICAL today. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by the Sweet Psalmist, based on the life of King David, including 30 of his paintings and King David's Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David through the Psalms he wrote and his time as a shepherd growing up in complicated and turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, hope, repentance, betrayal, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner. That's Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Sweet Psalmist is Serena Wagner. Also brought to you by High Time Music, featuring the smash hit Baby Come Back. New music coming soon. Listen for details at hightimemusic.com. Support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, themikewagnershow.com. Heard on 40 podcast platforms, 100 countries. Tickets with you on any mobile device. Be sure to subscribe and like on Spreaker, Spotify, Apple Music, also YouTube, BitChute, Rumble, and more for great gift ideas. Go to Amazon.com. Be sure to check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Great books, merchandise, and more. Amazon.com. We're here with the amazing author, founder, president, Vanguard Marketing Investments, Dennis J. Henson, here on the Mike Wagner Show with the book Real Impact, Daily Inspiration. And before getting to all that, you've had some other books as well, too, like The Royal Flush, A Millionaire's Treasure Map to Real Estate, and Investing Success, and Be a Success Maverick. I like those. So tell us more about those books.
Well, those were books that half of them were books that were people that went out and they got several successful authors and said, write a chapter, write a chapter. So 2 of those were like that, where I just wrote a chapter and wasn't really interested in becoming an author at the time. When I started teaching my students, one of my friends said, you're giving out other people's books and you're teaching, you need to write a book. And so I started I'm doing a series on real estate investing. The first one is the why. The second one is how to get started. The next one is the 5 M's. And then the next one is where to get the money. And then, so it's just a series, but that's mostly just for real estate investors. Real Impact is for anyone. I mean, anyone who wants to have a better life, if they want to fulfill their dreams, regardless of what they are. This removes the barriers. The book, Real Impact, gives you a roadmap to get from where you are to anywhere you want to be. But the first thing you have to do is decide, where is it? What is it I want to do? What is my dream? What is my burning desire? If you can develop a burning desire to do something, you can use the formula in this book and you can get it regardless of the money, your education. And inside the book, you're going to see people who shouldn't have been successful. They didn't have the money, they didn't have the connections, they didn't have the education, and yet they went on to become extremely successful and well known throughout the world.
And Megan mentioned a couple of people in the book, or maybe some success stories. Just a couple. You have to do the whole book. Just maybe a couple of success stories.
Well, the first one is Sylvester Stallone.
Oh yeah, good old Rocky, my favorite of all time. I love it. I'm ready to down a dozen eggs in his honor after this. So raw eggs.
Oh, the story starts with him homeless,
Mm-hmm.
in the bus station. He doesn't have enough money to feed his dog. I mean, he's really broke. So he has to sell his dog so that the dog will have something to eat. That's how poor he was.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes you through. He saw a movie of Muhammad Ali fighting the Bayonne bleeder, the Bayonne bleeder. And no one expected the bleeder to last around with Muhammad Ali because he was the greatest, and he'd tell you he was the greatest. But the bleeder stayed in the ring with him for 15 rounds.
Wow.
And that impressed Sylvester so much that he sat down and for 3 days he wrote a script. Well, he went for an interview, and he was not a very successful actor at that time. And he went for an interview, and the part wasn't for him. And just as he started to walk out the door, he thought, well, there's producers here. I'll tell them about my screenplay. So he told them, and they half to get rid of him and half listening. They said, oh, bring it by, we'll look at it. And they thought they'd never see him again. But the next day, he showed up with a screenplay. And they read it, and they loved it. And they said, we'll give you $350,000 for this. Now, Sylvester was broke, living in a bus station, showering in the YMCA. And they offered him $350,000. And he said, yeah, I'll do that, but I've got to be the lead. And they said, no, we want a star. We don't want you. We want a star. We're not going to give you that money and let you play in the movie. And he thought, well, I'll just die if this thing works and I'm not the lead player. So he turned him down. He turned down $350,000, which was a lot of money back then. This was in the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And so they came back to him and said, look, okay, we'll let you play the lead, but we're only going to give you $35,000 and a portion of the profit, if there is any profit. So to make a long story short, they funded the movie. He produced it. He used handheld cameras. He didn't use any actors. They were all his friends and family.
Nice.
And he produced Rocky. And the story itself will bring tears to your eyes. I mean, how it came about that it was accepted is a powerful story. So I'm not going to spoil it for you. Everybody should get the book and read it. And all the stories are like that. Another story is about Disney. Now, when you think about Disney, you think, well, God, that guy he was just a success, success. Disney World, Disneyland, cartoons, movies, success. Well, no, wait a minute. If you go back to the beginning, he failed and failed and failed and lost everything, and people stole everything. I mean, the poor guy just got knocked down so many times. Most people wouldn't have gotten up all those times, but he was just unstoppable. I mean, and he would risk several times in the story, he risked everything he had, where if it hadn't worked, he would have been broke again, but it wouldn't have mattered because he would have just got back up and started again. He was just that kind of guy. It's impressive. And another story is Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln had no business being president. He didn't even have a first grade education. Did you know that?
I was reading something about Abraham Lincoln, considering he was from Illinois and everything. And if I'm correct, he ran for president, what was it, six times. He got in like the seventh time or something like that.
Well, he ran for a lot of offices, and he lost a lot of, but he only ran for president once.
Okay.
But he ran for a number of other offices, and he ran for the Senate. And he got beat. The poor fellow, he failed 16 times in business and politically and other things. But every time he failed, he learned something and he came back and he got better. The thing about Lincoln was the people who knew him respected him and loved him because he was honest and he worked really hard. But the name of the story is Providence. And the question at the beginning of the story is this Providence? Or was Lincoln just really lucky? Because the things that happened that could have stopped him from being the president, I believe there were about 20 of them, and the odds of him getting past any of them were pretty much zero. But he got past them anyway and ended up being one of the greatest orators the world's ever known, and the president of the United States with less than a first grade education. And he came from a family that was so poor, they didn't even have, their floor was dirt. He lived in a house, a lean-to with a dirt floor. That's how poor they were. And his pants were too short because when he outgrew them, they couldn't afford to buy any more pants. So it's a beautiful story, and it's one of the longer stories in the book. And then there's every story in there. You see, I had about 100 stories. Well, that was too many. So I had to narrow them down. And I only kept the ones that were so powerful, they'll bring a tear to your eye. Well, that's pretty powerful stories. And when people read my book, I always ask them when I'm talking with them, I say, well, was there any story in there that moved you? And they'll go, oh, yeah, I just cried. Well, that's what I want to hear, because when I started writing the book, I wanted to write like Agamandino. He's a wonderful, wonderful author, and I wanted it to be like him. So when I read his book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, it made me cry in the beginning, a couple of places. And I thought, I want my book to make people cry. I want it to be so powerful that when they read it, they'll feel like you just reached into their heart and plucked their heartstrings, made a tear come to their eye. And if you read the reviews on Amazon, I think you'll see that that's pretty much what happened.
You took up a number of authors that you're influenced by, poets and everything. Who are some of your favorite authors? Who are some of your favorite poets? And who are some of your favorite writers that are growing up?
Well, Mendino is my favorite author. I mean, in fact, his story is in the book. A lot of the poems in the book are from unknown authors. I collected them over the years, and when I put them in the book, I looked them up to see who the author was. And there's one that's in here several times, but I'm almost blind, so I can't pull it out right now. But there's a couple of poems in there by Robert Frost. I really like Frost. But most of the poems are to lift you up, to make a point that it doesn't do any good if you get knocked down to stay down. You need to get up. There's a life out there to live, and there's a lot of fun to be had. So don't waste your time and your life by being depressed.
And I think that's a really good point as well, too. And of course, read about the success stories, how they got knocked down, humble beginnings and everything. And of course, the big thing about the imposter syndrome. How does one get past this imposter syndrome?
I'm glad you asked that. So if you have that, if you feel like you're not adequate in what you're doing, this book will help you. You need to get it because it's not a typical book. It's not a book that you just buy and read. That's not how it was intended. In the beginning of the book, there's a formula. It says, if you use this book as intended, it will help you realize your fondest dreams. If you'll do it, there's a lamp on the front of the book. Can you see the lamp?
Mm-hmm. I
Okay.
see that, yes.
It's Aladdin's lamp. And in the story of Aladdin, Aladdin found an old lamp, or he purchased an old lamp, and he found out that when he was cleaning it, if you rubbed it, it had magical powers, and it would give him whatever he wanted. Well, people read that story and they think, well, it's just a story. It doesn't mean anything. But the truth is, this book is like that lamp. If you use the story, if you use the book the way it's intended, and you perform the ritual, the daily ritual reading, you can have anything you want. I mean, it's just a matter of determining what that is. Now, most people don't have a burning desire because the desire came to them and they thought, I can't do that for this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason, this reason. Well, with this book, you're not going to think that way. You're going to think, well, why can't it be me? Why can't I do that? Why can't I get the money? Why can't I get the education? Why can't I talk with the right people and move the right levers to get to the point where I want to be? And the answer is, you can. You can. You just have to do it. And regardless of what happens, don't get knocked down.
Mm-hmm. And maybe just a few tips as well, too. Right people, getting money and everything like that. Maybe a few subtle tips just to get somebody going. Besides reading a book, maybe just a few subtle tips.
Well, we kind of went over that before, where we talk about DFWR. You have to have desire. If you don't get your mind right, then you're not going to be very successful. A lot of people just get up and go to work. They have the habit of they get up and go to work, they go home, drink a beer, watch TV, and go to bed. Well, they're going to get a paycheck. That's all they're going to get. That if that's their life, that's the life they chose. Well, if a desire comes to you and you say, well, I would like to become an attorney. That's what happened to Lincoln. He wanted to become an attorney. So he started reading about the law. And every day he read more and more. He got more books. He partnered with a guy that had a law library, and it was 20 miles away. He would walk 20 miles to get books from that library and take them home and read them and then bring them back and get more books. So that's the first thing. You got to get your mind right. You have to have desire. The second one is faith. If you think you can do it, you're probably right. That's one of the quotes from Henry Ford. He said, if a fellow thinks he can do a thing, he's probably right. If he thinks he can't do a thing, he's probably right. So you have to have faith that whatever it is that you want and you're trying to do is going to happen, so that when you get knocked down, it doesn't matter. You have faith, you get back up and keep going. And then will, it's hard to stop someone who has a strong will. I can't tell you how many people have told me that it's really hard to sell a book like this. It's hard to make that work because there are millions, you're competing with millions of other books and more every single day. Well, if I didn't have the desire and the will, I wouldn't be on this program right now. It doesn't matter.
or on any program. So,
right.
That too. Mm-hmm.
It just rolls off my back. I'm not going to listen to those people because I have the desire and the will and the faith. And then the last one is action. So when I first decided that the best way to get this information out was podcasts, I really kind of thought, I don't know if I want to do that or not. It's kind of frightening to, be out in front of the public, and who knows who's going to see it, and maybe you'll mess up and so forth. So it took a lot of courage. But this week I have 10 podcasts, and my goal is to have 15 every single week. And I'm moving in that direction really very, very quickly because I want the word out. Mike, I believe that this book's going to change a lot of people's lives. and it's my legacy. I won't be here 25 years from now, but this book will be changing people's lives 25 years from now. And what they read in it, from what I wrote, they'll be connecting to my thoughts. My body won't be here, but they'll be connecting to thoughts that I had while I was here on the earth. So my goal with it is I want to leave the earth in a better place than it was when I came. I want it to be kind of like Socrates or Aristotle. I mean, I know I'm not those people, maybe Napoleon Hill, where every single day, Napoleon Hill's been dead probably 50 years, but every single day he's helping someone start a business or move their business or keep from losing the business just because he wrote a book. And that's how I want to be. I want to do that. In fact, if it's okay, I'd like to give everyone that's listening in a free ebook. Is that okay?
Absolutely. And how do they get this free ebook? We'll find out with the amazing Dennis J. Henson of the book Real Impact Daily Inspiration. How do you get this ebook? We'll find out just 1 minute. Listen to the Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Wilson's Missing. Also brought to you by Illuminati, think tank of the future. The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David. Amazon.com, keyword Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and High 10 Music. Check out the latest at high10music.com. We'll be back with the multi-talented Dennis J. Henson of Real Impact Daily Inspiration after this time out. We're back to the multi-talented Dennis J. Henson of Real Impact Daily Inspiration here on the Mike Wagner Show. Now you've had just a few minutes to think about it. Now the question is, how do we get a hold of your ebook?
Okay, so to get a free book, go to realimpactbook.com. That's easy to remember, realimpactbook.com. And you can watch the video and read about the book, but scroll down to the bottom of the page and it says podcast listener. So you click on that and put in the information. We'll send you, it's automatically sent to you, and your name is not put on an email list. There's a place on there where if you want to be added to the email list, you click on that, but it's not done unless you ask to be. But you just get the book. And the reason I want to get the book out is, first of all, it'll help you, and you're going to read it, and then you're going to think, wow, this would be a great gift for my grandson, or a great gift for my niece, or I have a friend that has someone graduating. So people graduating from high school and college, this is the perfect gift for them. And because of the stories, grandparents in nursing homes would love to have the book, because the stories are really wonderful. They'll enjoy reading those, and they'll know a lot of the poems. And if you know someone in a sales force or that has a sales force, this is a very motivational book. So when I started in business back in the mid-70s, the company gave me 3 books. They gave me Think and Grow Rich, Success, the Glenn Bland Method, and Og Mandino's The Greatest Salesman in the World. Once I read those 3 books, I was on fire. I mean, it was like someone had injected in me motivation and inspiration. And I wanted more books. I mean, it was almost like a drug. Where can I get more of this? I need to learn more. I need to have more. So, Mike, what I've done is, for 50 years, I've read and read and read and read, and I kept a list of the books that motivated me, and that list is in the back of this book. There are hundreds of super motivational books in priority order. So if someone wants to form the habit of reading every day, if they get home and they're exhausted and they're going to bed and they think, oh, I forgot to read, they can turn over to the quotes and they can read a quote in 3 seconds or 5 seconds. If they're in an airport and they have 30 minutes, they can read a short story. Or if they're in a layover, let's say they have 3 hours, they can take the companion book that they got out of the back here off the list, and they can read for 3 hours. If they got 5 minutes, they can read a poem. So it's designed to make it super easy to form a habit that will literally change your life and the life of the people around you.
Now, can this be downloaded on Kindle or on your phone or tablet or laptop or anything?
Uh, the ebook comes to you. It's a download. It downloads right into your computer. You can get it on Kindle. It's on Audible. There's a soft cover on Amazon, and it's on Audible. And then the hardcover, if you go to realimpactbook.com, it'll take you to Shopify where you can get the hardcover books. And right now we're having a special. So if you'll just look at the main page down in the left-hand corner and say this month's special or Christmas special, whatever the special is, and click on that, and you'll be able to get a really good deal because we run some super specials.
And it sounds like it as well, too. And where can we find your book and all your books at?
Go to realimpactbook.com. And all of the books are there. It'll say buy now. Just click on it, and there it'll take you to all of the options.
Okay, and that's once again the website
realimpactbook.com.
Make sure you write that down and check it out today with the amazing author Dennis J. Henson of Real Impact Daily Inspirations here on the Mike Wagner Show. And Dennis, just a few more things. We'll have you back. What else can we expect from you 2025 and beyond?
Well, I had a lot of stories left over after I did the first book, and so I'm working on Real Impact Book 2 and Book 3, and I'm writing a book called The 7 Secrets of Success. And I've been writing on that book for 50 years, and I'm about ready to have it finished. But it's really a powerful book. If you want to improve your business, you want to become a successful author, you want to, whatever you want, those 7 secrets, anybody that you know that's been super successful have done the 7 secrets. And I know this because I read lots of biographies and I can just track them. Oh, here's this, just write down.
And certainly did as well, too. That's something to look forward to. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
Well, I wanted to be a college band director. I was a high school band director in the early 70s and had a really successful high school band in Athens, Georgia. We marched in the Pasadena Tournament of Roses parade, which is
nice,
easy to do. So I was invited to become the band director at Georgia Tech, and that was a goal. So I moved to Atlanta, and this company out of Tennessee called me and said, "We want to hire you." And I said, "Well, no, I have the dream job. I'm not coming. I don't want to do that." And they said, "Well, we'll give you a round trip ticket. We'll buy you a steak. We'll pick you up in a limousine. We'll give you a $50 cigar." And so I thought, well, I'll take the round trip ticket because back in the 70s, you didn't get to fly much if you were a poor boy from Alabama.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I went to Tennessee and they did everything they said, and they offered me 20 times what Georgia Tech, 20 times the salary. So I took it. I went into business right then because I thought, I've never had any money before, and this is going to be great. So you asked me who my influences were. Well, this book is dedicated to the man that owned that company. He and his vice president, his name's Tom Hendricks. He's one of the most successful business people in Tennessee. And he even has college buildings named after him in Tennessee.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how, I mean, he's really quality. So I sent him a book when I finished it, and he wrote me a 4-page letter. And he said he was so impressed. He said, "Dennis, this is a real winner. I'm going to give it to my grandchildren for Christmas."
Nice.
And that really inspired me because obviously I have a lot of respect for him. I dedicated the book to him. So anyway, his name's Tom Hendricks. You might look him up. He's a wonderful. He's got a book out too, Worth the Drive. But I really respected him. I respect Og Mandino, Napoleon Hill, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar. I mean, I could talk for 10 minutes on the people who've had a major impact on my life, but those are probably the main ones.
And certainly Deed as well, too. Just amazing people. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
The best advice is to get this book and read the introduction and how to use this book and put it into use the next day. Form that habit of reading something positive that will move you toward your goal, and never break the habit. Do it for the rest of your life, because this has made it easy. There's enough reading in this book and references for you for the rest of your life, unless you're going to live 200 years. You may run out in 200, 250 years, but the people who are alive today that won't be robots, I guess, will have enough reading in there to last them for until they're gone.
And I certainly a lot of info to go around as well, too, with the amazing author Dennis J. Henson of Real Impact Daily Inspiration here on the Mike Wagner Show. Dennis, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic and inspirational as well, too. Looking forward to having you soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book?
Well, if they go to realimpactbook.com, there are links there that will take them to whatever, it has several links. If they want to buy a gift, go here. If you want to buy the soft cover, go here. And it explains more about what, I'm limited in time. It explains more as a beautiful video talking about the aspects of the book. So it's realimpactbook.com. And on Amazon, it's Real Impact Daily Inspiration or Dennis J. Henson. And if you do go there, please leave a review. A book review would be so appreciated. I'm giving you a free book. Read it and give me a review. Thank you so much.
We will certainly do that as well. Once again, Dennis, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic and amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. We wish our best. And Dennis, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you so much, Mike.